managing a fleet of trucks, tractor trailers, and material handling equipment? Hassling with maintenance, repair, and vehicle breakdown? Transervice's dedicated contract maintenance service, DCM, takes that hassle away. We maintain your fleet, no matter what the configuration, to the highest standards, while giving you the greatest cost control. We offer preventative maintenance executed to maximum utilization, equipment life, and necessary repairs, all tracked by a state-of-the-art paperless computerized system. Assistance with equipment engineering, configuration, including new engine technology, and onboard computers for your fleet, as well as dedicated fleet contract maintenance. Dedicated on-site service facilities staffed with management and certified maintenance technicians, inventories of parts, tires, and fluids, and all necessary shop equipment, diagnostic tools, and technology. Supporting services such as equipment inspections and assistance with meeting regulatory requirements, DOT, OSHA, EPA. Contact us today to learn about our turnkey contract maintenance solutions. It's all about the experience, yours and ours.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Vidane TV and tonight's coverage of the Transervice Cup Series All-Star Race. Tim Terry and somebody that's not Kevin England. Brian Macklin, what are you doing here?
You know, I'm not really sure what's going on tonight. I got a little confused. I guess I decided I didn't want to tear up any more cars for the night. We're going to let Kevin England do the honors of tearing up some cars tonight. Should be a really exciting race. I can't wait to do this broadcast with you, Tim. I got to thank you and Paul for allowing me to jump up here in the booth with you guys. This All-Star race is going to be an absolute blast.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Looking forward to this evening. It's a different format than what we're used to on a regular Monday night for the Transervice Cup Series. We're going to run 35 laps. We're going to have a competition yellow, run 35 more, and then run 10. There's going to be a pit stop in there as well. There's going to be some inverts. This is going to be a fun night. That's the lineup on your screen as to where they will start. Segment number 1, no caution laps counting as well. So we are going to run all of these laps this evening, 80 in total. Will be all under the green flag. The iRacing pace car going to set to head to pit road this time and let these 17 drivers loose for the Transervice Cup Series All-Star Race. Glad you could be with us on a Monday evening here on Vidane TV. It's Kevin Brown and Josh Parker on the front row. Green flag is up, and we are underway for the first of 80 laps this evening.
As these guys take off into turn 1, the goal for these guys is going to be to get to the bottom of the racetrack as quickly as they can, get these cars wound up. The first several laps on these tires, you're going to be able to wrap this car all the way around the bottom of the racetrack, and you can see Kevin Brown doing a great job right here. He got a great launch off the oh, we got a wreck in the back already as I see Tyler Dalton, Daniel Faulkingham going around, and a couple other drivers back there as well. It looks like Richard Beasley was involved too, so lap 1, we already have a wreck.
Oh, Faulkingham backed it into the fence in the Lobster 207, number 39, and we'll set it down to Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. Paul, I believe you're going to be a little bit busy tonight with these instant replays. What do we got for the first one?
Taking a quick peek here at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, and we could see it right off the, well, we had it lined up, and then all of a sudden technology did its thing. So we're going to be able to watch this going backwards before we watch it going forwards, and there you can see the Lobster 207 car making it into a Lobster 702 car, if you will, hitting that wall backwards. But there we see there, everybody's 2x2. You can see just a little bit of a wiggle there from the 39 of Faulkingham. Very uncharacteristic of that driver, and you can see plows the inside wall there, and you can see Richard Beasley got caught up in it as well. The damage doesn't look too bad on that tie ride, but tough break. Gonna have to restart in the back here.
Brian, there's been a new build since the last time we raced here on the Transervice Cup Series on Monday evenings. What has it done to Kansas? Are these cars looking as unpredictable as they are inside these race cars that we just saw on a half lap?
Well, I tell you, I haven't actually practiced here at Kansas to see what the cars are doing here specifically, but I know they've taken a little bit of grip away from the cars. They've made them a little bit more difficult to drive, which is obviously going to play into this as well. You also have to think about the fact these guys are on cold tires, and it is the All-Star race. They want to go out here. They want to race as hard as they can, try to get to the front. With these stages, there is kind of like what we saw last time in the All-Star race, where there's going to be an average finishing position between the first and second stage. And that's going to determine the lineup for the final stage, that 10-lap dash to the finish to determine who's going to win. So everybody is going to have their foot on the loud pedal from the drop of the green, trying to get track position, trying to get the best average finish that they can between these first two stages. I think it's going to be a combination of that and then just the fact that these cars are a little bit out of control.
And you mentioned the fact as well, there is one pit stop here this evening. As you see Mike Kelly on your screen, won the fan vote. You saw the 26 of Jose Gonzalez made his way into this race via the All-Star Open, had to hold off Joey Gattina on a frantic last lap that Joey tried to get the win from Jose and wasn't able to do so. And Tyler Dalton squeaked his way in as well. So 17 cars here this evening. There are no quick repairs on this race. So Daniel Faulkingham and Richard Beasley still sitting on pit road trying to get those cars repaired. But with the caution laps not counting, they are not losing any laps currently sitting on pit road. But that one pit stop that they do have to make, Brian, you mentioned the tires off the start. We saw last night with the NASCAR Cup Series All-Star race that we saw a half dozen drivers pit the first opportunity they could to come down into pit road. But with the way these tires are situated, it's probably not the best idea to come down on lap number one when that window opens, right?
No, I think you're going to see these guys run a few laps. They do have to pit under green in order to get their green flag pit stop underway for it to count towards this first stage. But I think you're going to want to stay in the draft for as long as possible. The tires are not going to fall off like we saw last night in the All-Star race. You're really going to see the lap times pretty much stay consistent for quite a while in this run. So I think you're going to see them stay out probably till closer to the end of when that window is, which is with 5 laps to go in the first stage. So they have to be on pit road by lap 30. And I think you'll probably see them try to be closer to the end of that before they come to pit road.
I believe the scoring ticker that you have on your screen is going to update when we do go green this time by. They will have 1 lap currently scored in this race as the caution laps do not count here this evening in this Transervice Cup Series All-Star race. So we'll re-rack them and get ready for green here. It is Kevin Brown in the 93, the 88 of Kevin King, the 23 of Josh Parker, Glenn Campbell in the 44, and Josh Williams in the 95. Pace car is in. We'll try this all over again as the 93 comes down and will take the green flag. We are back underway, and we'll see if these drivers can get a rhythm and see if they can kind of learn a little bit with this package that they have here as they dive it into one. It's going to be Kevin Brown all by himself, and Brian, everybody else is fighting for second.
Yeah, another great launch for Kevin Brown right there. And you see Josh Parker now coming with a big run. The draft is going to bring him up to him. Is he going to try to make a dive or is he going to go to the outside? You see Kevin throws a little bit of a block. Josh is able to get to his insides. They're side by side for the race lead. He's going to bring help in the form of the other Josh in this race. Josh Williams is right behind him. They're trying to gang up on that 93 car. Now you see Josh Williams go to the outside. He's going to give a little bit of draft to Kevin. This is what makes it so challenging here because you need a drafting partner in the first several laps of this run. And right now you can see Kevin Brown is able to hang on. He's actually kind of working the lines right here. He was able to pull Josh Williams on the front stretch. Now he drops down and tries to help Josh Parker. And now he's out back to Ken front.
The one thing I'm interested in seeing here as we move forward this evening, and we saw it in the All-Star Open, albeit there was a couple of damaged race cars near the front, was Joey Gattina was able to roll the top. Able to make the time up late in the run, and you get some heat in the racetrack, heat in these race tires, and he was able to make that run, but obviously too little too late as Josh Williams gets up to the back bumper of the 93 of Kevin Brown. I think that front car is able to control a little bit as you ride on board with Justin Fuller, and he's got a handful of steering wheel and maybe a little more than he bargained for. Nice save, though, by the 51.
And nice save by him, but there is a wreck behind him. Chad Coleman, Tyler Dalton got together off turn 2. Looks like Chad was reacting to Fuller getting loose. He got sideways, and Tyler Dalton had nowhere to go. They both went down. Chad just barely hit the inside wall.
So that'll bring out our second caution flag of the evening and bring in Showtime Paul Strickland for a Kong, a beer bong instant replay. Second time this evening. Paul, what do you got?
Yeah, you hate to see cautions, but I'm glad we got a caution right there because I was really hoping we could get a replay of that save from the outside of the car of the 51 of Justin Fuller. You saw definitely had a handful of steering wheel. We're going to take another peek at it here. Keep an eye on a Fuller in the 51 car, and you see right here, a little bit of contact there with the right rear quarter. Does an awesome job saving it, but unfortunately there was contact behind that. I'm going to back it up one more time. They can see the 38 of Chad Coleman hitting the inside safer barrier there. A little bit of a bump. Not a huge hit, but definitely some front-end damage on that 31 car. And you can see here, here is the initial contact, and just a couple of drivers trying to slow up a little bit. There you see Richard Beasley getting by on the hair of his teeth there. And a little bit of a bump there for the 38, but he puts it in reverse, grabs a gear. He's going to get on going. So he's not going to stop just yet, but have to restart after getting some damage worked on here on the virtual pit lane here in the iRacing Series.
I think the one thing we're going to have to watch out for this evening, Brian, albeit with these cars not or being able to come down to pit road and get their damage repaired and not lose a lap under yellow, that's going to be a good thing in the advantage of maybe, say, Chad Coleman, who's got a little bit of front and rear damage on that race car. But I think we're going to see that attrition kind of work its way out. Daniel Faulkingham in the 39 is still sitting on pit road. He scored his 2 laps behind the pace. That car's not moving. So I think we're going to see some of that come into play here as we work through, albeit we are only on lap number 3, or check that 4, of the 80-lap distance here this evening. So they still got a lot of ways to work, and I'm sure they'll calm down a little bit. We'll get some green flag laps in here soon.
Yeah, I think at some point you're going to see these guys kind of settle in because obviously with the caution laps not counting, the longer they sit here under caution, the longer this race is going to take to complete, and they want to get to the finish. And they also need to get settled in so they can go ahead and do their green flag pit stop. These drivers have to do a green flag pit stop, so they have to be able to get settled in and be able to get that going. But I agree with you. I think the attrition is going to set in. We've now got a handful of cars that have some pretty decent damage. Daniel Faulkingham, obviously he might be able to get back out here, but really his night's going to be over at this point. There's a lot of damage on that car. Chad Coleman, the front end damage, he actually got some damage from the first wreck with Daniel, so he's got a little bit more to add to it at this point, but not too bad on his car. But yeah, I think if we have another big wreck, you're going to see these guys start to really kind of settle in. They really don't have a choice.
They'll come by this time with 1 lap to green, and we'll get this thing restarted one more time. It'll be the 93 of Kevin Brown and now the 95 of Josh Williams to the outside. The one thing I think I will take away from those 3 laps that we saw, Brian, was the 93 out front was able to kind of control this race. The 95, we saw the 88 of Kevin King kind of make that move, but be unsuccessful at getting there. So I think that's the one thing we're going to have to watch here is if the 93 can take off here and get the lead, how much he's able to really control the front of this field.
Well, I know from when we ran the points race here a few weeks back that having the lead and having that clean air was the most important thing in the entire race. So if he can control this race and continue to hold that race lead, he's going to be in a good place, at least for this round. But we have to remember there's going to be a full invert of the field at the end of this stage. So he's going to have to deal with traffic at some point. Maybe sometime during this stage. It might be at the beginning of the second stage, but he's going to have to do it.
Pace car peels off. We'll try this one more time. It's Kevin Brown and the 95 of Josh Williams on the outside. Green flag flies. We are back underway, and Kevin Brown, another great start for that number 93, and we'll see where they all shake out behind. How about Tommy Ryan in the 99 making moves? He is up into what may be position number 3 before this thing is all said and done as he battles side by side with Kevin King when he's on the racetrack. In the 95 of Josh Williams now makes that move to the outside. 95 going to go to the lead.
Yeah, and Kevin Brown just did not get a good launch on that restart like he did the first 2. Josh Williams was able to stay on his outside, then use the draft down the backstretch to take the race lead. Now we see Kevin, he's in a little bit of a sucker hole right now as he's still 3 wide. He's got Tommy Ryan on his outside, Josh Parker to his inside. These guys are really going at it, and this is not what Kevin Brown wanted because he had control of this race. If he could have had another good launch and held on to it, he could have been there. But look at Adam Gillen up there up against the fence. He's trying to make something happen as well. Oh, as Parker gets loose on the bottom.
Kevin Brown has control of nothing right now. He was going backwards. He's still going backwards. He's got Justin Fuller on his right rear now. Omar Diallo on the outside trying to hold him up. But for a couple of laps, Kevin Brown was 3 wide in the middle and going backwards. And now he's no longer going backwards and he's on his own, but he's back to position number 5. Kevin King moves to the inside of Josh Williams side by side for the lead. And Kevin King gets the apron. He's going to push up the racetrack a little bit, and now Adam Gilliland tries to find a way around the J Concepts number 88.
Adam Gillen's one of those guys you don't want to let get to the race lead because he is so good at controlling the race. If he can get there, it's going to be very hard to pass. And as he slides up, almost gets into Kevin King. Looks like Kevin might be having a little bit of connection issues, and Adam slid up and almost got into him. Now he's stuck in the middle because Tommy Ryan was able to get a run to his inside and is trying to make that move for second. I think he's going to get him. He does. He clears the 81 of Adam Gillen, still battling with that 88 of Kevin King. Having some connection issues still, though. But this is allowing Josh Williams to hold on to this lead, and he's actually built himself a little bit of a gap over these guys because of how hard they're racing for second.
How about the effort from Tommy Ryan here this evening, up in the top 5 in the Snap Mobile shop number 99 and continuing to work his way forward? And I think for the most part, Brian, that car looks relatively stable compared to some of the cars that we see out here. Kevin Brown has his hands full. He's got Justin Fuller right up in front of him. Richard Beasley is back in the mix after being involved in the first yellow flag this evening, but right there, up the hill, almost into Omar Diallo, trying to fight that race car. I'm going to talk about cars that are unstable. That number 10 car is going backwards. That's something that he's probably going to want back.
And I was just getting ready to talk about Beasley and how he had moved up, because he was up there battling for a top 5 spot just about 2 laps ago. But you can see just how quickly that can change. If you lose a little bit of momentum like he did, get loose and just really have to let out the gas, that momentum kills you. And he just drops to the back so quickly because of that. And it's unfortunate how quickly that can happen. But he has an opportunity to get back up there. Plus, we have the green flag piss offs. We have a 3-wide battle ahead of him between Tommy Ryan, Omar Diallo, and Kevin Brown. Kevin trying to get his track position back, but not so far as he's been able to do so. Now Josh Parker enters the mix as well. These guys battling hard up here for the top 5 spots.
It's almost like you're walking a tightrope on that inside line, that inside the middle groove, where you really have to be on it to not push the nose to that car to go up the racetrack. You saw it with the 10 of Richard Beasley. We see it with Omar Diallo right now. We see it now with Josh Williams going to the inside for the lead on Kevin King. Kevin got the advantage up front, and now Josh goes back to the inside. And is Adam going to make it 3 wide? Why not? 3 wide for the lead, and here comes Adam Gilliland, the personal comfort number 81. Going to be able to slide up here in front of Kevin King. Going to get tied off of 4. They're all going to make it work, and Adam Gilliland is going to come by this time and lead that lap, albeit by just a little bit. And where did Justin Fuller come from? What a run by the 51.
Man, Adam Gillen's old favorite driver, Dale Jr., would have been really proud of that. Would have been calling slide job right there off of turn 4, because that's exactly what Adam did. But now they're 3 wide for the lead. As you just mentioned, Justin Fuller has gotten up there. He's in the middle trying to make something happen. He was not able to get clear. Now dives to the bottom of the racetrack. Is he going to try the slide job? Looks like he's going to. Can he slide up in front of Adam as they get off turn 4? Yes, he can, but he's going to lose a ton of momentum. And here comes Adam back for the crossover move.
You know what? It took them a couple of laps to try to get their feet underneath them with this new aero package, but it looks like they've got it. They figured it out, and they are putting on a show like we're used to seeing with this Transervice Cup Series every Monday night here on Vidane TV. The 95 of Josh Williams now on the attack, trying to get that number 81 of Adam Gilliland, and trying to get the 51 of Justin Fuller now at bay, because Fuller's going to go to the outside, roll the top, but he is going to find Adam Gilliland parked right in front of him. The 81 car going to stop the forward momentum of the 51 of Justin Fuller. The top 3 all personal comfort cars, but here comes the 99 of Tommy Ryan. Great run for the 99, trying to roll that outside line into what would be a podium position here, but nothing doing now as you ride down the back straightaway and see all these cars coming out towards Adam Gilliland in the 81.
And we're seeing exactly why these guys chose this track as the All-Star race. As Tommy gets a little high, gets up into the fence in the middle of the corner. That could cause a stack up behind him. He's able to keep it up there against the fence and does not involve anybody else, but he's going to lose all the track position that he worked so hard to gain here throughout this race. He was having such a great run. Now we have a battle for the lead again, as here comes Fuller back to the point. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack on Adam. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. Adam's able to pull away, gets the run on the outside line. He's able to get there. Now, here comes E.J. O'Rourke. Where did he come from all of a sudden battling up here, getting ready to try to make a move for the second position, gets into the back of Fuller, and that allows Kevin King to slide to the bottom. Can he do a 2-for-1 special? He's going to try it, but I don't think he's going to have the momentum off the corner.
Kevin King goes to that inside, tries to make something work here. It is a mess in behind Adam Gilliland. E.J. O'Rourke goes to the outside with Kevin Brown behind, and Justin Fuller playing all lanes and able to do so. Down into corner number 1. No harm, no foul there. Fuller maintains second. Gilliland gets away, and now E.J. O'Rourke nowhere to go but into the back of the 51 car. Down the back straight away they go. Josh Parker goes to the inside. E.J. O'Rourke goes to the inside. 3 wide for 4th.
And these guys are going at it right now, and they have to remember they still have to make a green flag pit stop sometime in the next 15 laps or so of this race, so they've got to start thinking about that. As well as, EJ gets turned by Kevin on the front stretch. Is he going to be able to save it? He's down in the grass. I don't know if he's going to come back up across the track. Looks like he's going to keep it down there and keep it clear of a caution. Don't think we're going to have one there, but wow, that was a moment for the 41 car.
Oh, the moment is still going on, but now this is an opportunity for EJ to get that pit stop done. As Fuller drives it into turn 3, tries to get to Adam Gilliland, but cannot get there. And here comes Justin Fuller down to pit road.
Yeah, Fuller going to be the first one to come. He's going to bring Josh Parker with him. Now the important thing is you cannot speed here because you do get that full invert at the end of this thing, but if you're a lap down, that's not really going to benefit you at all. So he's got to try to keep this thing clean here. You see those two drivers are going to be the first one on tires. This could be an advantage for them to get out there and win this first stage because they're going to have that one lap fresher tires than everybody else. The question now is, when does everybody else decide to come to pit road? Is Adam going to make his way down? We see him at the bottom of the racetrack here in 3 and 4 right now. It looks like he is going to come to pit road. That's going to give the lead to Kevin King. But now Adam's the next driver coming to the pits.
I think your hand's kind of forced right now if you're those guys up in front. You see Adam Gilliland pull off. You see Justin Fuller pull off. You're Kevin King and Tommy Ryan on your screen. I think you kind of have to come down. There's Glenn Campbell in the Transervice 44 also getting service to his race car this time. If you're Kevin King, you're Tommy Ryan, you're kind of hoping, hey, those guys in behind were going 2 and 3 wide. Maybe they'll make a misstep. Maybe they'll bring out a caution flag in the middle of this round of green flag pit stops. But on the other hand, if you want to try to win this segment, try to get yourself that average finish number to get yourself up in front for that final 10-lap dash to the finish, your hand's almost kind of forced to this point where you have to come down.
Yeah, and that's where you really have to run this race different than you would any other race because you're not thinking about 80 or 90 laps out. You're thinking about 15 laps from now. This is when you're going to have to worry about that. And you're also, like you said, you're talking about trying to get the best average finish between this stage and the next stage. So, yeah, you want to stay out here and you want to run some laps. You don't want to run too long because you want to give yourself a chance to get a good average finish here. As we see Kevin King diving to pit road now, he's made the decision to come in. It looks like Omar Diallo is going to come with him. Omar gets in really hot. Going to be curious to see if he made it without speeding. But now you have an opportunity with the tires to still try to get a good average finish out of this. And you know, obviously that's going to be the most important thing. But we have to remember, again, that full field invert at the end of this thing is going to make things very interesting. Right now you would have a guy like Kevin Brown who would most likely be back to the point if it was as it is right now.
Wait to see if Tommy Ryan decides to come down on the pit road this time. It looks like he will. In the Snap Mobile number 99, he'll bring it down and very conservatively, by the looks of it, down onto pit road. Hand the lead over to Josh Williams, and right in behind will be the open winner from earlier tonight, Jose Gonzalez, along with the 2 of Mike Kelly and Chad Coleman, also staying out on the racetrack. So Josh Williams leads him down the back straightaway. 22 laps will be completed this time by.
Josh is always one of those guys. He's going to do something different from everybody else because he just likes to be on a different strategy, give him the best opportunity for himself to try to go out there and do and get a race in his control. And this is the way he's going to do it. He's going to run long here. And what I'm thinking he might do here is he's going to run long, probably wait till the very last possible moment to come to pit road, and then have fresh tires, almost fresh tires, for the beginning of the second stage. And he'll most likely also be inverted to the front of the field, have that clean air, that track position, and might give him a chance at being able to control the second stage and maybe even go on to win that second stage.
So there are 6 drivers currently on the racetrack that have not come down into pit road, including the number 30 of Kevin England, as the 95 will come on to pit road. There is the 30. How weird is it seeing your car on the racetrack and you not in it?
I have to say it has been an adjustment for me. I'm so used to driving that car, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, I'm like, how am I racing and talking at the same time? But no, it's cool that Kevin's out there giving it a good run so far. He's kept it clean and kept it out of the any kind of trouble. And if he can get a good finish here, he could get a good start at the end of this thing as well. But got to get into the pit box nice and clean. Looks like he might have slid through just a little bit. He does. He's got to back up. That's going to cost him some time. That's the mistakes you can't make in these green flag pit stops because that little second or two right there, that's going to take him out of the draft when everything cycles back through. So that's going to hurt his average finish for this first stage. But now we have to wait and see when the rest of these drivers are going to come to pit road. Jose Gonzalez, Mike Kelly, Chad Coleman, none of them have come to pit road yet. Tyler Dalton's out there still as well. Now the game becomes, when do you come? You've got 5 laps. You have to pit by lap 30 coming to 31. Now the question is, when do you do it?
I think if you're Jose Gonzalez and these guys, you hang it out almost as long as you can right now. I see Mike Kelly's got a little bit of damage to the right rear quarter of that race car as he's going to come down onto pit road and get service to his race car, but a little bit of damage back there. Doesn't seem to be hindering him a whole lot, at least at this point, but still on the lead lap and still has an opportunity. And here comes the cavalry on fresh tires as Jose Gonzalez will look in the rearview mirror and see Adam Gilliland, Justin Fuller, and the likes getting up and getting ready to unlap themselves. That would be for 6th, 7th, and 8th on back.
Yeah, and this is where if you're Jose or any of these guys that haven't pitted, you want to get to pit road because you're seeing the tire difference right here. And the longer you stay out, the less likely it is that you're going to be able to advance positions at the end of this stage to get a good average finish for this first stage. So I just like the way that Kevin King did it. He ran a couple laps long, but not so long that he's not going to have a chance to be able to try to get back into this thing. And he's not too far behind these guys right now. He's still with 10 laps left in the stage. He could very well get to them and maybe pass those guys to win this stage and get the first place finish in this stage. So I think if you're Jose and Chad, you got to come to pit road now.
Jose Gonzalez, Chad Coleman, Tyler Dalton, the only three cars that remain on this racetrack. And it looks like Tyler Dalton is going to stay up on the racetrack this time by. And everybody else has completed their pit stop that they've needed to. And they need a couple of laps before that window closes in order for them to come down on the pit road and get service on their race car, or they'll face a penalty when it comes to starting stage number 2. We go to 35 in stage number 1 in this Transervice Cup Series All-Star race, and the Goya Cam will stay out on the racetrack. Gonzalez will lead lap number 28 on the racetrack.
And I guess he's going to do kind of what I was talking about. He's probably going to wait till the very last second, come to pit road, and then most likely stay out once they get the invert. He'll probably start near the front because he's going to have such a differential to these guys that are on fresh tires. He's not going to have a chance to make up any spots. Maybe have control of this thing when they go back racing to begin the second stage. But he's going to have to come in next time by. If he doesn't make the pit road this time, which I don't think he's going to because he has a train of cars underneath of him, he has no choice but to hit pit road on this next lap. So I'd be very curious to see what he does here. Chad Coleman has went ahead and made his way to pit road. Tyler Dalton elected to stay out. So those two drivers, they have to come this time by, or like you said, they will face a penalty when the second stage begins.
Yeah, you don't want to face that penalty, and with everybody going through green flag pit stops, you don't want to. The last opportunity to have a caution flag mess anything up would be this lap right here, or you do face the penalty. So Jose Gonzalez will be coming down to the pit road this time by, and he brings the Goya number 26 down. Tyler Dalton in behind, and the SIM500 Vidain TV car will do the same, and that'll hand the lead over. Am I seeing E.J. O'Rourke on my screen as the leader, Brian?
I think he's going to be, but he's another driver that has not yet come to pit road. He did not come in after his spin, so now he's actually making his way to pit road as well. He's waiting to the last possible second. My concern with E.J. is he's so far behind, he might actually go a lap down doing this pit stop, so I'm not sure this is going to work out too well for the 41 machine. We'll have to wait and see what happens. That's going to hand the lead over to Adam Gilliland, who, as I mentioned earlier, you don't want to let have the lead any more than you have to, but he's got a pretty healthy lead over what will be the battle for second and third. Justin Fuller, Josh Parker, they're about a half a second behind him. And this car in this package, that's more than you want to have, or more than you want to be behind, because it's so hard to make up time. These cars, you stay so in or on the throttle that it's hard to make up that kind of time. Justin Fuller, though, is doing a good job at holding off Josh Parker. This is still, these are going to be good average finishes for these drivers to start this first stage off.
Now, I don't want to be that guy to bring it up, but those two cars we just saw on our screen, this is the first time that Josh Parker has been back in the Transervice Cup Series since the little fracas set to whatever you want to call it at Dover with the 51 car of Justin Fuller. And this is the first time, Brian, they've been in competition nose to tail. So I think after his 3-race suspension, Josh Parker might have learned something, but I've learned anything from Josh Parker over the years doing the sim racing thing. A race car driver, whether it's virtual or real, never forgets. So keep your eye on this battle here as they go down into corner number 1. First opportunity we're getting to see these drivers in at least a few weeks go at it.
And it's amazing how this always happens. You get two guys that are having issues, and they always seem to find each other on the racetrack. We see it in real life. We're seeing it here tonight in the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series. And these two are no strangers to each other. They've had their issues a lot over the years, and they're probably going to have several more over the course of the next several years. So this is always an exciting battle to watch. If you're in the race with these guys, you automatically expect something is probably going to happen between the two of them before the night's over, and that is true to be said for tonight as well. If it comes down to it, these two are going to have some contact. I have no doubt about it. As you see Josh, he's trying to make a move on him here. They're coming to what will be the white flag of this stage. If Josh wants that second position, he's going to make a move for it right here. And that one spot on the racetrack could be very, very important when it comes to the average finish.
It could be the difference of where you start in stage number 3, that final 10-lap dash. They'll come to the white flag for this stage this time by. Adam Gilliland will lead them down. Justin Fuller, Josh Parker currently Tommy Ryan and Kevin King in 4th and 5th. And 5th might be under siege right now as the 95 of Josh Williams goes to the outside of Kevin King to take position number 5, Omar Diallo, right in behind them. But up in front, it's Adam Gilliland in the personal comfort, number 81. He'll round corners number 3 and 4. He'll come by this time and see the de facto green and white checker. He wins stage number 1 for the Transervice Cup Series All-Star Race. Fuller, Parker, Tommy Ryan, and Josh Williams will be your top 5. I would assume the field will come by and complete this lap, Brian, and then we'll see the yellow flag come back out.
Yeah, they're going to let these guys cycle all the way through, and then we'll get that caution. Then they're going to invert the field before they're allowed to make the decision if they want to pit or not. And at that point, we'll see what happens, and then we'll get that second stage underway. Now we're going to have the fun, though, of watching guys like Adam Gilliland, Justin Fuller, Josh Parker, these guys that are always usually at the front. They're going to have to start at the back. They're going to have to work their way through track position, or through not having track position, rather. And they're really going to have their work cut out for them to get back up there and see if they can get another solid finish so they can get that great average starting position for the final stage.
So there's the yellow flag. The field will catch the pace car, and we'll have 13 drivers currently scored on the lead lap back to Tyler Dalton. EJ O'Rourke with that spin and that pit stop is scored as 1 lap down. Glenn Campbell scored as 1 lap down. Richard Beasley is 2 back, and Daniel Faulkingham was able to get back on the racetrack. He is scored as 2 laps behind the pace. So first opportunity to re-rack and restack these drivers, at least on a stage caution flag, and Adam Gilliland and Justin Fuller will catch the pace car down the back straightaway.
And we're going to wait and see what happens here. It's going to take a couple of laps under caution here for them to get everything set up. But once they invert the field, then you'll see these guys have the option to come to pit road. They do not have to come to pit road, and this is where I was talking about a guy like Jose Gonzalez who waited to the last possible second. He's only got 4 or 5 laps on his tires. He may elect to stay out since he's going to have control of the race. It looks like if you go in terms of lead lap cars, he would restart in the 3rd position. But once they do the invert, if drivers are elect to come to pit road, they give up what I believe, if I understand the rules correctly, they would be giving up the starting position that they would get if they do come to pit road after the invert. So I'll have to wait and see how that works out. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, it's going to be a very interesting second stage to see what happens here.
So with an invert, and you can see these cars cycling through and cycling out, it'll be Tyler Dalton, Kevin England, Jose Gonzalez, Chad Coleman, Mike Kelly, Kevin Brown, Omar Diallo, Kevin King, Josh Williams, Tommy Ryan, Josh Parker, Justin Fuller, and Adam Gilliland, your 13 cars that are on the lead lap. And I believe they'll be cycled through this time, so I would believe that pit road should be open this time. And we'll see if any of these drivers up front elect to come down pit road to get service on their race cars.
Yeah, and if I'm these guys in the back that are already going to be starting back there, I think I would be going ahead, coming to pit road, getting the fresh tires. If you're some of these guys that are going to be towards the front, it might be worth staying out to go ahead and hang on to that track position, especially if you're Jose, who's only got a handful of laps on his tires. And I was looking at his lap times. It did not look like he came out of the pits and really ran hard on the other side of the pit stop. So I think he was trying to take care of those tires so that he could stay out right here, and indeed he's going to. He's going to stay on the racetrack. It looks like most of these guys at the front are going to. I really don't know if I see anybody coming in through the field here at all. So it looks like everybody's elected to stay out on the racetrack, and that is going to tell us exactly what we need to know. These guys are going to do it just the way it is.
We'll see if we can't get a hold of the one of the drivers inside the race car. And Brian, why don't you conduct this one?
Absolutely. I'm going to catch up with the guy that's filling in for my car here tonight, Kevin England. Brian Macklin up in the booth. You got us? Hey, Kevin England. This is Brian Macklin. You got us, man?
I got you, Brian. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. So I told you before the race that the only way you could do this car justice was to put it into the fence and destroy it, because that's what that car has done a lot this season. But so far, you've kept it clean, and because of the invert, you're going to start up here on the front row. How are you feeling for this second stage here?
Actually, I hammered the wall off of turn 2. Just got way too loose, slid up, pancaked the right side, and I have to go to pit road and get some damage fixed here, so I'm probably going to yield this position, but I'm having a blast.
And what's it been like being in this all-star event with all these guys, a lot of these guys that are past winners of this series and playoff drivers from last year? Obviously, this is a different level of competition that maybe you're used to being a part of, but it's been a wild race so far. What has it been from your perspective so far?
For me, I'm just trying to be respectful and not crash these guys, but I'm here to race. I'm going to do what I can to see if I can get a good finish out of this thing. They're fast, so they just drive off, but I think in the longer run, I'm pretty good at saving tires, so we'll see what happens.
We'll let you get back to it here. That car won in Daytona. It'd be really cool if you could get it a win here tonight in the All-Star race. Good luck for the second stage here.
Hammer down. Thanks for calling it, man. Thanks for the seat.
Yeah, man, no problem. All right, that was Kevin England filling in for myself here tonight. So what a wild ride this has been. And it's like we talked about earlier, Tim, it's really weird sitting here looking at that car on the track and realizing that I'm not behind the wheel. I'm so used to driving that number 30 car. That's been my car for pretty much my entire sim racing career. But doing a good job there for Kevin. He's got a good run going, and he has an opportunity to put something together here at the end of this thing.
So we had a bunch of drivers come down on pit road, as you saw right there. Tyler Dalton, Jose Gonzalez, Mike Kelly among those that stayed out. Glenn Campbell, Daniel Faulkingham, who is a lap down. You got Chad Coleman out there as well, and then Kevin Brown, the rest of the field coming in behind. EJ O'Rourke got the free pass in this one. And Richard Beasley, I think, kind of tried to do the same thing. I think he kind of tried to go around the pace car and say, hey, I want one of my laps back too, and I don't think race control agreed with that. So the 10 car is stuck in behind the pace car. We'll see if he gets any sort of wave around or what have you here on this lap. There he goes right there, and he'll get back. I believe that will be on the lead lap, or one lap down for Richard Beasley potentially, as we still get scoring all cycled through, and it'll be Tyler Dalton and the 26 of Jose Gonzalez by the looks of it on the front row when we do go green.
I'm trying to listen into race control, and I think the idea is they're trying to put both Beasley and Daniel Faulkingham back on the lead lap. I think they're just trying to make sure they've done their pit stops first. Have to wait and see what happens right there, though. But we should be coming back to the green flag here just shortly. I'm waiting to see the timing and scoring update to see where everybody is at. But, man, this is going to be a wild one right here. It doesn't look like we've seen Beasley or Faulkingham get their laps back as of yet. So maybe that's not what they're doing here for these guys. But, man, I'm curious to see some of these guys coming from the back, Tim, especially these guys like Adam and Fuller. If they have to start back there in this traffic, we know how important clean air is. They haven't really dealt with the traffic at all tonight, and now they're going to have to do it for this next stage. Can they drive up through the field and get back to the front and actually control this race the way they did in the first stage?
And with the way that this package is, I think it's anybody's race right now. But you look at the back bumper, that number 19 of Tyler Dalton, there's a little bit of damage to that race car. The 26 of Jose Gonzalez, a little bit of damage, I believe, as well to that race car. But we'll see see how this all shakes out. Lights atop the pace car, I believe, will be going out this time by. The field is doubling up behind that pace car. Lights are out, so next time by, we will go back to green flag competition. Your leader is Tyler Dalton, and I'm interested to see how he holds up here and see how the other drivers make their way through this field. And you'll see Kevin King start on the outside of row number 3. Josh Williams will start on the inside, and behind there's Kevin Brown in the mix as well, going to start position number 5. So there's some moving that could very well be done here, Brian, before the first lap or so is even complete.
Well, we saw how wild it was on the initial start and then the following restart as well. Guys like Kevin King, Kevin Brown, who had some track position at the beginning of this race, they're going to want to get back up there as quickly as they can, jump in front of these guys that are out here. Tyler Dalton, obviously, as you mentioned, he's got some damage. That's going to hurt his chances of being up here in the lead. Jose Gonzalez, we can't forget about him. He won the open race to get into this thing, so we know he's got some speed. If he can keep this track position, he might be a threat in the second stage. Have to wait and see how that all plays out. But, man, there's going to be a lot of action right here. This is why we did the invert, so we can see these guys come back through the field in the second stage.
Pace car is going to peel off here, and we will get back to stage number 2 of the Transervice Cup Series All-Star Race. It'll be Tyler Dalton and Jose Gonzalez on the front row, and a great start for the 19. Green flag flies. We are back underway. Gonzalez to the outside. Mike Kelly will occupy that inside line as they dive it down into corner number 1. And here comes Kevin Brown already on the back bumper of the Verizon number 2, and he is going to try to get to third.
And like we saw in the first stage, track position is so important. He's got to try to do it. He throws the block on Josh Williams. Josh goes to the outside. There's contact, and they're wrecking in turn 3. Josh Williams up into the fence. Looks like Omar is involved. A big wreck down here in turns 3 and 4. That's going to take out several of our front runners.
They almost had it saved until they didn't, and Omar's got a lot of damage to that number 48 car. We'll slow them down once again, and we'll bring up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. And Paul, square peg, round hole. There's trying to fit a bunch of cars into a hole that won't fit. What happened?
Pretty much just that, and we got a couple of different strategies going on with some guys having fresher tires and inverting the field and all sorts of madness going on here, but we'll take a peek here from the blimp here in the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, and we're going to kind of focus in up front. There's the initial contact, and you can see Chad Coleman gets a piece of it. Tommy Ryan does a great job straightening that car right back out there in the 99, and Omar in the 48 had the biggest hit there. Squares that nose up the outside safer barrier, but he is able to grab a gear and get going. So it tells me the motor's still at least in one piece, but definitely an unfortunate event here. There you see the 41 of EJ getting a little piece of the action as well. We'll back this up one more time and take one more look at it. As you can see, the billboard's in the way here, so we'll change up the camera angle a little bit. Push that play button, and we can see just what it is that happened here to EJ O'Rourke. And I'm going to focus in on the 41 way back here. You see he gets a little bit of a shot there from Glenn Campbell as he was slowing up to try and avoid the wreck. And, well, the wreck came to him. There you can see Richard Beasley getting on by as well as Daniel Faulkingham. So I believe that's going to put the 10 car of Richard Beasley back in the lead lap with the free pass.
I believe it will, and it definitely will, because the field will, or the race officials will wave the 10 of Richard Beasley by, so he will be back on the lead lap. Leaves Daniel Faulkingham as the only driver multiple laps down, 2 laps down in 17th. The other 16 cars remain on the lead lap, but albeit there's differing damage to a lot of these cars. And fast fact for Richard Beasley, I know he had some tough luck at Sonoma last week. He actually finished his 4 laps that he was down, I believe, by Tuesday morning at like 2 a.m. in the morning. He had a really off night when it came to Sonoma, but I know he was excited to get back here and get going in this all-star race. But got some damage to that race car, trying to fix it. And speaking of damage, there's the 95 on pit road with damage, the 48 of Omar Diallo, getting some damage repaired to the Lowe's number 48. This stage just got a little longer for some of these drivers.
And that's frustrating. If you're Omar and Josh, you had a really good first stage. You know, these guys, Josh finished 5th in the first stage. Omar finished 7th. So they had a good finish in that first stage to potentially set them up for this, you know, the second stage and for the final stage as far as the starting position is concerned. And now with this damage, they're going to be going to the back with the damage. It's going to be very hard for them to work their way back through the field. We've seen the guys that have had damage, like Beasley, like you were talking about, like Chad Coleman, really just were not able to do anything in that first stage after they got the damage. So it's going to be a long second stage, as you mentioned, for these guys here, if they're going to be able to do anything at all. Hopefully, as long as they don't have any motor damage, they might be okay, but not really sure what's going to happen. We'll have to wait and see once we go back racing here. I believe we're going to get the one to go next time by, it looks like, possibly.
Yeah, I believe we'll get it this next time by across the stripe. That's the great thing about this new iRacing build is you have the ability now within the session to change the caution length. So they've been changing it back and forth to allow free passes and allow drivers to come down pit road. And obviously with this race not counting caution flags, it's added a little bit. We do have, and I don't want to bring it up because I know we brought it up at Bristol and we ran right up against it. We should be fine here tonight, Brian, but if for some reason this race comes off the rails and with caution flag laps not counting, this race is a 1 hour and 40-minute time limit. We are at the probably 37-minute mark as we come by this time. So we have an hour to complete the remaining 40 laps and change. We should be okay, but just for disclaimer's sake, want to bring that up as we get doubled up.
Well, we saw what happened in the first stage. We had a couple of cautions right at the very beginning of the stage, and then these guys settled in, and they were able to finish that stage out without having any major issues. And I think that's what we're going to see here in this second stage as well. Everybody was vying for position right at the very beginning. They wanted to try to get as much track position as possible at the beginning because that's when it's easiest. That's when there's the maximum amount of grip in the tires, when they're cold and when they're fresh. And you can try to make up as much time as possible. But then at that point, it becomes a conservation of your tires. Try to make sure they're surviving for the end of the run so you can make up that time at the end. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. We're about to go back green. The lights are off on the pace car. It's going to be Tyler Dalton leading them to the green. Once again, looks like Chad Coleman's going to start to his outside with Mike Kelly, Kevin Brown in the second row. Then we have Kevin King and Justin Fuller in that third row. These guys already have some track position because of that wreck. That's exactly what these guys needed to try to get a good finish in the second stage.
We'll see what they can do here as the pace car will pull off. Tyler Dalton got a great start the last initial restart or start of this second stage, and he's going to do it right here one more time. Get the advantage that he can. Green flag flies, and Chad Coleman in position number 2. Looks like he's going to keep that position, but in behind, here comes Kevin King trying to make a move. Here comes Kevin Brown, and they all scatter down into corner number 1 to see what they can do to advance their position.
Mike Kelly gets to the inside of Chad Coleman. He's going to have a push from Kevin King down the backstretch and a big run on Tyler Dalton. You can see the damage really hurting the 19 car. Kelly's going to go to the outside. Can he make it stick up top? And is he going to have drafting help when they get off the corner? Here comes Josh Parker. Where did he come from? Off turn 4. He's going to be behind Tyler Dalton with Kevin King pushing Mike Kelly. This is a side-by-side battle for the lead, and we have a lot of action going on behind them. Now Josh Parker is going to try to split the difference. He's 3 wide down into turn 1.
And don't look now, here comes Justin Fuller slicing his way through this pack. It's 2 wide for now, but I'm sure they'll try to find a way. 3 wide, and Adam Gilliland almost gets in to the 51 and turns him. They somehow stay straight. They get through with that little bit of a bump draft, and somehow they didn't wreck about 15 cars, and Fuller lost the nose at a corner number 4 that time and almost got up into Kevin Brown. It's hard to capture all this action. And 3 wide, there's a bump, and that's gone wrong. Fuller saves it, gets into Adam Gilliland, and somehow we're we're still straight, maybe. We're still under green, maybe. Yeah, right. Oh, no, never mind. Caution's out.
Caution's out. Adam Gillen has some significant damage. Looks like he's actually already out of the server. Omar Diallo was also involved. Fuller has some pretty significant damage from that. That was just, as we talked about, some really hard racing, and it just went wrong right there. As we're going to go with Paul Strickland to that camera. He's going to let us know exactly what happened here.
Yeah, you really got a feel for the 48 of Omar Diallo here. Getting caught up once again here in another wreck, and we'll take a quick peek at it here. Keep an eye on the 48 car. You can see he's got most of that damage fixed. And, man, the contact up started happening in front of them between the personal comfort machines. And you see 3 wide in front of him. He's kind of minding his own business, and there's smoke. And where there's smoke, there's fire. There's almost gets it corrected. The 51 up into Tyler Dalton. Tyler Dalton up into the 48. 48 up into the wall, and you can see he comes back down into Glenn Campbell as well. So definitely a tough break for Omar Diallo. I believe he's going to park that thing in the garage, done for the evening. He's going to join the 39. 39 still back out on track, so we might see that 39 car get that free pass, put him back on the lead lap, but looks like the 48 car may be done for the evening.
I see some faking at the end of pit road there. It looks like, for the most part, everybody is staying out except for Mike Kelly. Mike Kelly coming down into pit road, and he looks fairly lonely down there, Brian.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about this call, unless he just didn't feel comfortable at the front. I mean, I know the action was really, really crazy right there. Everybody's being very aggressive. Maybe he just felt like having tires here would be an advantage. I mean, we do have, 5 laps on these tires, so there is a chance that these tires could really matter. If they can get a green flag stretch right here, you could drive back through the field and possibly win this thing when the stage is all said and done, because we know the tires are very important for a handful of laps. So have to wait and see how this plays out. But as we mentioned, Adam Gillen, Omar Diallo, they have both disconnected from the server. Their nights are done. So that's 2 really big hitters, in my opinion, Tim, that are now out of this thing. I think everybody would have looked at Adam Gillen and said he's probably the favorite to win. He won the first stage, but now he's out, so we're going to have to look at somebody else as a favorite. I'm going to have to say I really like Kevin King. I just think that he's had a quiet start to this race. He finished 6th in the first stage, but he's had a lot of speed in that car. And if he gets a good second stage finish here and can start close to the front, he's going to be a factor.
I think it all depends how much damage the 51 Justin Fuller can get repaired. He's down and away now. He sat there for at least 20 seconds getting some damage repaired, but I'm interested to see what kind of speed he has when we go back to the green flag. I was surprised Mike Kelly didn't get more damage repaired than might be on his race car. I'm still seeing a little bit of right rear on the 2, but didn't spend any extra time on pit road. So it's either fixed to where that's all they're going to get out of that 2 car, or they've still got damage and they're not going to repair it. He only lost 1 position when it comes to the cars that pitted, the 30, and I keep wanting to say it's Brian Macklin, but it's not Brian. You're up here. It's Kevin England picked up 1 position on pit road of those cars that came down the pit road.
And Kevin's done a good job tonight. He really has. I mean, he's kept that car out of trouble. He did smack the wall earlier in the first stage, but he's avoided these wrecks, which is the most important thing. Avoid these wrecks. and be there when we get to the final stage. That gives you the best opportunity. If you tear the car up now, like we've seen with Daniel and Adam and all these other guys, you don't have a chance at all. If you keep the car relatively clean, you get a decent finish here in this second stage. He could start somewhere in the top 10, and then, when all hell breaks loose, he could have a shot at this thing. So it's not over by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just been a wild race, and that's what the All-Star race is about, though. You want to see these guys going as hard as they can the entire race, because there's no points on the line. This is all about bragging rights, trying to be that guy that wins this race and holds that title for the next year until we do it again next year.
Looks like we're getting ready to come back to green, but quickly we're going to chat with Josh Parker. Josh, it's been wild looking from up here. What's it like in the race car?
Yeah, it's fun. I remember the race here a couple of months ago. It was one of the best races we had all year. So yeah, I'm having a good time just trying to keep the car clean. I think there's only a couple of us left with a clean car.
Oh, what are you going to do to hold this thing up front?
I'm trying to figure that out now. I mean, I'm in a good spot now. I'm going to get as many points as possible to start up front for the 10-lap shootout. But I think that's the key. He'll take my last set on that final pit stop and try to stay out front. Draft's pretty strong, so I'll be interested to see. I think if you start first, second, third, if it's anywhere in the top 5, you could probably win the race.
We got 30 laps to figure it out before we hit that final 10-lap dash. Good luck. That's Josh Parker, driver of the number 23, and I think he kind of hit the nail on the head, Brian. Keep it clean and make sure you have a car and get your strategy right for that final 10-lap segment. I think we're getting ready to see it here, and we'll see what he has along with the rest of the field in behind him.
Absolutely. He finished third in that first stage. If he can get a good finish here, he could really set the stage and be on the front row for that final 10-lap dash. That's going to be very important as the pace car is about to come to pit road. We're about to have another restart. See what happens here if he can get a good launch, and he's gone already.
Clean air is everything, and Josh Parker knows that. Green flag flying as we are back underway, and the 93 of Kevin Brown going to find his way to second with that little jump by the 23 side by side for position number 3, and Tommy Ryan continues to put himself in the conversation. I don't think this one is over for the 99. I think he might have something before this thing is all said and done. And Jose Gonzalez kind of quietly in this second stage, kind of been up and down, and now goes to the middle 3 wide. Tommy Ryan to the outside, Jose Gonzalez to the middle, and E.J. O'Rourke to the inside as they battle off of corner number 4.
A great 3-wide battle here for that third, fourth position as Jose Gonzalez is able to sneak ahead of these guys. EJ stays on the bottom of the racetrack trying to take that position away. Not quite going to have the momentum as they come off turn 2 right here, but he's going to try to sneak in if he can get up in front of Tommy Ryan. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. Too much momentum from the 99 car. That's going to allow him to get to the outside of the 41 machine. And now EJ's really got to fight. He's got some damage on that car too. We've been talking about that. There's not very many clean race cars, but Tommy is one of those cars that is still fairly clean, so look for him to make his way to the front once some laps get on these tires and the aero really matter. Meanwhile, Kevin King has closed in on Josh Parker. He's trying to make a challenge for that race lead. Can he do it off turn 2? We're going to have to wait and see if he can get the run and get the draft help from the 93 machine. Doesn't look like it's going to happen here, but he is definitely closing in.
We saw that in the open, though, talking about the battered and damaged race cars as Kevin King pokes that nose again to the inside of Josh Parker. We saw it with Joey Gattina with a clean race car trying to catch Jose Gonzalez, and Jose made it a battle in that open, and now you see Kevin King go to the inside, just barely has the nose there, has the foot in the door and kicks it open. Kevin King goes to the lead, and Parker trying to roll that top and get back to the outside. He will not get there. He'll try to cross it over, though, and go down to the inside. Now he gets tucked right in behind, and Mike Kelly. Where did Mike Kelly come from to the inside for second?
Mike Kelly with a big run on the bottom of the racetrack. If he can get some help down the front stretch, he could make something happen here, but nobody there to give him a push. Josh Parker has the advantage because he has the draft. He's able to clear that number 2 car, or new 2 car, good Lord, and is able to go back and try to battle with Kevin King. He's going to run the high line. We saw in the open that Joey Gattina was really able to make some ground on that high line, but not quite able to do it yet. I don't think the tires have wore out enough where that high line is really going to come in just yet. But if he can do it here in a few laps, we could really see a change at the front of the field. That's Kevin Brown and Tommy Ryan right there. And Tommy is running a little bit of momentum right here. He did win our Ford Entertainment Group race last night in the Xfinity car. So he's got some momentum on his side, trying to carry that into this race here as well. Could be exactly what he needs to get a good run tonight.
Parker drives it down deep for the lead. He'll clear Kevin King. He'll come up and take that advantage. Kevin King will get the run down the back straightaway, and he'll go to the... Oh, he turns him! Kevin King turns Josh Parker down the back straightaway. Oh, no. Jose Gonzalez gets into the 23. That'll be the caution flag, and I think that was a misjudgment of space, and that's going to end the night for the 23.
And most likely end the night for that 26 car as well. Man, he just had nowhere to go, and honestly, we're lucky that we did not have more cars involved in that. Paul, what did you see from your angle down there? Because that looked wild from what we saw.
Yeah, most definitely. Going to pull up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay right now, and we're going to take a quick peek from the look on the inside of Kevin King's car, on the inside of the 88 car, and we'll pull this up. We'll take a few peeks at it here. You can see closes right in, and you can see just gets right on there. Doesn't quite hit him square, and backs off the throttle just enough, and unfortunately sends that 23 car up and around. We'll back it up one more time and take a quick peek from the spotter stand, and that's a really good vantage point. You can see.
Hey, Paul.
Yes, sir.
Can we back it up to turn one where Parker makes that dive down to the inside of Kevin King? Because I think that's really where this all starts, when Parker makes this move right here, going down into turn number one. He gets it set up. He has all this momentum, goes down to the inside, and I think that sent a message to Kevin King.
And you can see the 23 slides right back up, and all the momentum that the 88 car had didn't really have anywhere to put it other than the back bumper of Josh Parker. So that's one of those deals where you got to kind of back it up all the way. Good eye there, Tim, and show the whole story. But we also have to show what happened to Jose Gonzalez, and you can see already smoking on the replay. We'll back it up one more again, and you can see just really nowhere for the 26 Goyo machine to go. You can see he's running with the 41, the 10, the 51 right here, and right in the racing groove comes up Josh Parker. Nowhere for the 26 car to go. That car's crinkled up like a Goya can, so that's a tough break for Jose Gonzalez.
It's going to knock two more cars, I believe, off the list of this evening's competitors. Obviously, the 23 has called it an evening. The 26 of Jose Gonzalez sits on pit road, and it's probably going to be the end of the evening for him. So 2 cars shorter on this one, so we'll have 13 cars. When we go back to the green flag, Kevin King will lead with Kevin Brown, Mike Kelly in third, Tommy Ryan, and E.J. O'Rourke, and I'm kind of impressed. We kind of saw that battle there right around Jose Gonzalez. So you had the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke, the 10 of Richard Beasley, kind of battling it out for position. The 51 of Justin Fuller was there. And it comes down now to the attrition, the damaged race cars, and those guys that probably in a regular Transervice Cup Series race, Brian, would be running at the back of the pack, as you see a damaged car of Daniel Faulkingham getting back on the lead lap with the free pass. But going back to that point, those guys that probably would be at the back of the pack are, with this package and with the way this race is running, the Richard Beasley, Justin Fuller cars that were involved in incidents earlier are 8th and 9th.
Yeah, and that's just the nature of the beast. And because we've had so many cars get tore up, it really kind of evens the playing field, because I think we have more cars that are tore up than we have clean cars at this point. So for those guys, they're not really at as much of a disadvantage as you would think. Unless you're a guy like Daniel Faulkingham, that car is still pretty tore up, and I don't really know that he's going to have much of a chance unless everybody junks it, which is why you stay out here, because you just don't know what's going to happen. But definitely a wild one so far, and we still have 25 more green flag laps that we have to run in this stage before we can even set the field for the final stage. It's going to be very intriguing, and now that we've had another couple of front runners really get taken out of this thing in Josh Parker and Jose Gonzalez, you're starting to run out of guys that you would think would be the front runners. So now it becomes a question of which one of these guys that you don't typically talk about actually has a really good shot at this thing. Who's going to be up there challenging Kevin King? Because right now it looks like he's going to be the guy everybody's going to be chasing with that clean car.
And we saw a couple of weeks ago how dangerous Kevin King can be out in front of the field when it comes to clean air. And it only takes one caution, though, to stack this field back up and put some more contenders up there. But I'm seeing Justin Fuller, even though the damage is there, he's going to line up 7th. E.J. O'Rourke in front of him in 5th. And I think the sleeper in this field is that 99 car on the outside of Tommy Ryan. Car looks fairly clean. He's shown that he can run up front. Does he have enough to pass Kevin King? It remains to be seen, but I think we're starting to see Tommy Ryan really put up a fight here. He's had some really good runs in this Transervice Cup Series this season. Lots of speed, maybe not the finishes in some of those races that he's wanted to have, but he's sitting up here in fourth in the All-Star race in segment number 2. He's got an opportunity to get this thing.
Tommy Ryan doesn't show his hand until the very end. He's one of those guys. He will have speed in the car. He can be one of the best guys out here, but he doesn't show it till it matters the most, and we're getting close to that point where he needs to show it. He finished fourth in the first stage. If he can finish up here again, a lot of the guys that were around him did not get good finishes or will not be getting good finishes in this, so he could be the pole sitter coming into that final stage. He really needs to try to capitalize on this here as we get ready to go back green.
Pace car is in. It's Kevin King and Kevin Brown up in front. 46 laps will be completed. And we are back to green. Kevin King in the 88 car will take the lead. And in behind him, they are now racing for second. You can kind of see it off that pan shot that the field is a little bit smaller than it was when we started this all-star race presented by Transervice just a few moments ago. Battle for second to 93. If Kevin Brown going to get the run off of 2 and take second place away from Mike Kelly.
Dives it to the bottom of the racetrack. Can he get to the inside of the 88 of Kevin King? He gets there, but now he's got challenge from the inside as Mike Kelly, who was on fresh tires and is now trying to challenge. He moves to the inside. He's going to move into that second position, and here comes Tommy Ryan. You talked about how quiet of a night he was having. He's on the outside trying to take that second position away as well. He wraps the fence. Can he carry that momentum off the corner to take it back? You know, it looks like Mike Kelly's going to be able to slide up. And now these two are going to try to chase down the 88 car of Kevin King. Meanwhile, the battle is on behind them between Kevin Brown, E.J. O'Rourke, Justin Fuller, Chad Coleman. They're battling side by side back there for that 5th position.
Yeah, this mess back here. Glenn Campbell's in the middle of it. You get Josh Williams, 1 in the wall. That's Fuller in the 51. We stay green, but that's going to hinder the progress of the 51 car. With that, though, Ryan, I think everybody kind of took a breath and for the most part, got single file, a couple of double. As I say that, here comes Chad Coleman to make it 3.
And Chad Coleman able to make that move. He's able to get by the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke, tries to get to the inside of Kevin Brown. Can he make that pass? He's trying very hard on the bottom of the racetrack. Not quite able to do it as of yet. Still trying. He gets clear off turn 4. Great move by the 38 machine to move up into what will be that 5th position, I believe, maybe 4th position. It'll be the 4th position now as he climbs up into that top 5. And ahead of him now is the cars that are a lot cleaner. Now we're starting to see those cars that don't have damage, Tim. They've really rose to the occasion. Kevin King, Mike Kelly, and Tommy Ryan. They're the cars that really have been the cleanest all night. They have the track position. And Mike Kelly now with those fresh tires looks to the inside of Kevin King trying to take that race lead away.
Mike Kelly just looks like he has a smooth driving race car. We talked about these guys looking out of control, and there goes the 99 of Tommy Ryan to the inside and top wiser of it. Mike just looks like he's got a smooth driving race car. Kevin King, obviously up in front, has looked really solid. And it seems like everybody behind has kind of had those moments of that car stepping out from them. Tommy Ryan looks good down the back straightaway, sucks right up to the back bumper of the 88, but can't make the move. Chad Coleman, a part of this fray now in the tap-out tuning. Number 38 goes to the inside and looks for position number 2. And as I said, Mike Kelly looks like he's got a comfortable race car. That second-place race car is now about a 5th or maybe even 6th-place race car.
These guys are going at it right now. Everybody is just fighting hard. It looked like Tommy might have got the fence just a little bit while ago up in turn 4. As Chad Coleman tries to slide up in front of him. Thought he had it clear. He had it for maybe just a split second, but he didn't make the move quickly enough. That allows Tommy Ryan to continue to try to fight for that second position. Kevin King is loving what he's seeing in his rear view because the longer these guys battle, the more he's able to hold on to that race lead as Tommy does the crossover move to try to take that second position back on the bottom of the racetrack. He cuts it down onto the apron. He's able to get clear of the 38 to move back into P2. Now tries to set his sights on 88 of Kevin King again, but here comes Coleman back to the inside.
It's almost like we saw on stage 1. We had a couple of anxious moments at the start and a couple of cautions, and then these guys got green flag racing. I'm going to touch some wood right now, and it looks like these guys are doing the same thing as Chad Coleman tries to find a hole to the inside of the 99 of Tommy Ryan. It's there. It's barely there. And there's the bumper, maybe there, to the inside of the 99 of Tommy Ryan. And it's going to close in Kevin Brown and Mike Kelly. Kevin Brown looking to get something done here for position number 2. But it's held by Tommy Ryan, and Chad Coleman wants it side by side through 2 and down the back straightaway.
Coleman wanted it. He's not going to get it. He's actually going to forfeit another spot as here comes Kevin Brown to the outside. He's able to clear that 38 car. Now we're seeing that high line really start to pay dividends as everybody's able to carry that momentum. And Chad Coleman down at the bottom just cannot stay on the throttle long enough. He can't carry the speed off the corner. He's now going to possibly get passed by Mike Kelly, and this is how quickly things can change. Chad Coleman was battling for second just about 2 laps ago, and now he's back here possibly getting ready to fall all the way back to 6th. If he can slide up in front of Kevin right here, he could really salvage something. He's got the mode, he's clear, and he's able to hang on. So that's going to keep him in 4th as Kevin got a little tight off the corner. That's going to allow now Mike Kelly to move to the inside, and he's able to take that position away to move back up into the 5th position.
Great little 6-car battle for the lead as we continue on this Transervice All-Star race. It's led by Kevin King. Tommy Ryan has found his way to 2nd, Chad Coleman 3rd. This is the battle for 4th on your screen as Mike Kelly has that outside line. Kevin Brown all by his lonesome on the inside. And the personal comfort 41 of E.J. O'Rourke trying to make something happen, kind of watching the battle happen in front of him from position number 6 and maybe 5th because he passes Kevin Brown right there in that exchange off too.
We can't forget about E.J. O'Rourke. He's not one that we talk about a whole lot being a guy that goes up and wins races, but he is one of those guys that he's sneaky. He can stay in these things, and he shows up right at the very end. Don't count that 41 car out. If he can get a good finish here and be able to actually get a decent starting position for this this final stage, he could be a threat in this thing before it's all said and done, as he's up there in that 5th position right now, trying to make something happen. The question is going to be, can he get up there and get to those guys in front of him right now? It doesn't look like it. As we're riding on board with Kevin King, you just saw just for a moment, he's got control of this thing, and that's exactly what we talked about. Having that clean air, having control of the race, that really allows you to just be in control completely and not really have to worry about anything, as he has not really had any challenge since we went back green.
You look at that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place positions, and Tommy Ryan, Chad Coleman, and Mike Kelly, those 3 kind of riding right now, not necessarily forcing the issue like we saw, 2 or 3 laps prior to, where they were picking up positions at will and swapping positions at will. Tommy Ryan has a little bit of a cushion back to the 38, and a little bit of a ways to catch that number 88 of Kevin King, and Chad Coleman reeling him in. Great run off of corner number 4, but can't do anything with Tommy Ryan, the 2 of Mike Kelly right in behind them. And the top 6 have kind of broken away from the battle in behind, which would be 7th on back. And there goes Chad Coleman down to the inside, trying to pick up that spot, and just lost the nose a little bit coming out of turn 2. And nothing doing there for that position. Mike Kelly going to try to close back in, and they continue to battle it out for position number 2, all behind Kevin King. They'll come by this time with 21 laps to go.
Great battle for this 2nd position right here. And while that's going on, it's worth noting that one of the contenders that we thought might be a factor in this thing, Justin Fuller, he has taken his car to the garage for the evening. The damage was too severe on that 51 car, so his night is over. Looks like he's going to finish in the 13th position when it's all said and done. Unfortunate for the personal comfort machine, but that's the nature of the beast here. Is this battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th continues to rage on, and Kevin King continues to just drive away from these guys. He's got about a half a second advantage over Tommy Ryan. And as long as they continue to battle the way they have been, that advantage is most likely going to stay exactly where it's at. It's actually closed into about 0.4 of a second right now because things have settled down. And now the question becomes, can Tommy get up there and do anything with him? He's got a really fast race car. We've seen that all night long. But at this point of the run, Tim, with the way the tires are, we have not seen the bottom line really work. Is he going to be able to go to the bottom and take that lead away from the 88 if he can get there?
Yeah, he might try to, but there's still plenty of laps to really get this thing done. We still got that segment break or that segment caution, which will be about 9 laps or so away from now as they complete lap number 61. I'm interested to see what these guys do. I'm interested to see if the second pack has anything, or the second trio, I guess, of drivers has anything. I think for the most part, it's damaged race cars back here, but Kevin England's, never mind. Kevin England's into the wall off of turn 2 again. Richard Beasley and Tyler Dalton kind of, I don't want to say picking up the scraps, but battling for what they have back there. But they're still on the racetrack trying to get laps in. And speaking about the battle, it looks like Tommy Ryan and Chad Coleman getting back at it as the 19 makes that move on the 10. There might only be 10 cars on this racetrack or 11 cars on this racetrack, Brian, but there's still plenty to battle for.
Well, and if you're one of those guys back there that's not really battling for the lead, you cannot consider yourself out of this thing, because we have seen wrecks happen at the front. And eventually, what could happen is a wreck that takes out all of these fast cars at the front of the field. If you are back there and you stay out of it, even though you're destroyed or you have a lot of damage, you might still be a threat to win this thing when it's all said and done. So absolutely, there's still a lot to race for if you're any of these guys that have already been involved in some wrecks. By no stretch of the imagination are they done. We're starting to see, though, Tommy Ryan, he has closed that gap down to less than 0.3 of a second on Kevin King. He has pulled away from Chad Coleman and Mike Kelly. So now I'm starting to wonder, maybe he managed those tires just a little bit better than the 88 car. And he, like you said, he's still got some time. We're going to be coming to 6 laps remaining in this second stage. He's got plenty of time if he can get there to try to make a move for the race lead.
The one thing that Parker mentioned when we talked to him is that most of these drivers, I believe, have one extra set of tires still sitting in the pit area. So if that is the case, if they did manage their tires correctly, that might be the advantage for some of these drivers in that final 10-lap segment, what you can do on the short run compared to what we're seeing right now, which would be one of the longer runs that we've had this evening. Mike Kelly moves back to position number 3, tries to chase down the 99 of Tommy Ryan in front of him, and Kevin King just kind of holding court. And as much as Tommy Ryan might be saving tires, I think Kevin's probably got a little bit in reserve ahead of them, too. They'll come by this time and have 5 laps to go in the segment.
Yep, 5 laps remaining for Kevin King, Tommy Ryan. If Tommy's going to get there, he's going to have to do it soon. But I was just looking at the numbers right here, and I think even if he finishes in second, Tommy's going to be in a great position to lead this field to the green. He finished 4th in the first stage, where Kevin finished 6th. So I believe when you average the numbers, if they finish the way they are running right now, Tommy should have the better average finish, which would give him the provisional pole, I would believe, considering Adam and Fuller and Josh Parker are all out of this thing as well. So this is where we're probably looking at our front row right here. Just might be in opposite when we go back green.
4 laps remaining in stage number 2 for the Transervice All-Star Race, and they're finding a place to race right now with these drivers that were in the top 6 and were kind of on top of each other about 10 laps to go, have kind of spread out just a little bit. Kevin Brown at the back of this train, who was within a second of the leader, is now about 2.7, 2.8-ish in behind the leader. E.J. O'Rourke in front of him. Chad Coleman found a place in 4th. Mike Kelly trying to reel in what he can in front of him, which would be Tommy Ryan and Kevin King. 3 laps remaining in stage number 2 as we get ready to close off this one and get ready for what would be a 10-lap dash to the finish to determine the winner in this All-Star race. And keep in mind, you know, you look back to last week at Sonoma, Kevin King going to victory lane there, finally getting that win. It's a good thing he got it sealed up, because right now he's out in front of this field. He might have had to work his way through the open if he wanted to get in here.
And there's no doubt with the speed that the 88 car has week in and week out that he probably could have done that, but he made it a lot easier on himself by winning last week at Sonoma, and nobody really doubted he was going to go in there. He's one of the best on the road courses, dominated that race to go on to get that first win of the season, and it's been coming for Kevin King. He's been here for a couple of months now, and you just keep watching him out here. I've been on the track with him, and you just know he's got the speed. I raced against him, and unfortunately I ended up wrecked, but I raced against him at Darlington, and he was really fast there, so a lot of fun. But they're coming to the last lap in this stage. Kevin King's just got to keep it clean for another 1.5 miles.
Kevin King up in front, Tommy Ryan right in behind, and Mike Kelly in a third. Those 3 drivers having a fairly clean segment number 2. That can't be said for a lot of the front runners that were up front in the second segment, or at least to start off segment number 2 after what happened in the completion of segment number 1. They'll come by at a corner number 4 this time, and Kevin King will see the unofficial green and white checkered flag. He wins stage number 2 for the Transervice Cup Series All-Star Race. Nice little battle at the end for position number 5. Give it to Kevin Brown as the 30 of Kevin England comes across. Rest of the field, there's Josh Williams at the end, and that will bring out the caution flag. There it is. We'll restart this one. Do a little bit of an invert, and we'll set the lineup for the final 10-lap dash. We'll take this opportunity to step away for just a few moments' time and bring you back to the finish. You're watching the Transervice Cup Series for SIM500 here on Vidane TV.
What's one of the biggest challenges of managing a fleet of trucks, tractor trailers, and material handling equipment? Hassling with maintenance, repair, and vehicle breakdown. Transervice's dedicated contract maintenance service, DCM, takes that hassle away. We maintain your fleet, no matter what the configuration, to the highest standards, while giving you the greatest cost control. We offer preventative maintenance executed to maximum utilization, equipment life, and necessary repairs, all tracked by a state-of-the-art paperless computerized system. Assistance with equipment engineering, configuration, including new engine technology, and onboard computers for your fleet, as well as dedicated fleet contract maintenance. Dedicated on-site service facilities staffed with management and certified maintenance technicians, inventories of parts, tires, and fluids, and all necessary shop equipment, diagnostic tools, and technology. Supporting services such as equipment inspections and assistance with meeting regulatory requirements, DOT, OSHA, EPA. Contact us today to learn about our turnkey contract maintenance solutions. It's all about the experience, yours and ours.
Hey, I'm CTWE Wrestler The Mac.
And I'm Showtime Stevie Stamos.
Have you ever dreamed of owning your own race car and taking it out for a test drive? Well, thanks to our friends at Rent a Race Car, you can!
Visit www.rentaracecarne.com for all the details on how you can take one of these babies out to Stafford Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the races.
Touchdown!
Have you seen my kick-ass subscription box anywhere? Oh, there it is.
Welcome back to Vidane TV and tonight's coverage of the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series. Tommy Ryan out in front as we'll re-rack them and restack them for one final sprint to the finish of this one. 10 laps to go. We've done 2 segments already, and we're getting ready for the final 10-lap dash to the finish of this one. Tim Terry, Brian Macklin, Paul Strickland Jr. along for the ride with you. And Brian, you've been crunching the numbers. I know Justin Fuller's crunching the numbers. Is this the lineup that we have for this final 10-lap dash?
It does appear that this is what we're going to have. Tommy Ryan was able to get an average finish of 3 in those first 2 stages, of third, over Kevin King, who had an average finish of 3.5. That's how close it was to determining who was going to have the pole and who was going to be starting second. So a great battle between those two. Then you're going to have Mike Kelly behind him. Kevin Brown looks like is going to be back there in the 4th position. Joshua Williams will be 5th. Kevin England, how about that? He's going to run 6th here when we go back green. That's a pretty good run for him as well. But it's going to be a really exciting 10 laps. You have the cream is rose to the top. We talked about how these clean cars are able to get to the front. They're going to have the track position for this final 10-lap dash. And now the question becomes, who's going to get it? Kevin King has been fast all night. Tommy Ryan's been right there for the first time. He's going to have an opportunity to control this thing when they go back green. Now the question becomes, can he hold on to it? We've seen throughout this race that the leader, if he can get out there and hang on for the first lap or two, they really can control it just because they have that clean air on the nose of the car where everybody else doesn't. So if he can hang on to the race lead when they go back green, he could be the man that's going to win this thing.
We saw a wild start to stage one. We saw a rough and tumble, let's say, start to stage number two. And I think the three cars that are up in front are going to be the three cars that determine this one. And you look at the 93 of Kevin Brown. Yes, he's had some speed. He had some speed in that last stage, that last segment, as did E.J. O'Rourke, as did Chad Coleman. But I think if this goes 10 to the finish, consecutive green, I think it's those three up front that are going to control this thing. And I think Kevin's got to be the favorite. But Tommy Ryan showed that he did have some speed and was able to keep up with those guys. And Mike Kelly, especially on the short run, albeit they were on a different tire strategy in that second stage, or at least at the start of it, Brian. But I think Mike Kelly showed that he has enough to hang with these guys. I think this is going to be a great little battle to finish this.
Well, and the nice thing about this 10-lap dash is it's a short enough run where the tires really are not going to fade that much. They're going to give up a little bit of time if they run the full 10 laps nonstop. But generally speaking, these guys are going to be wide open with as much grip as they could possibly have for 10 laps. So it's going to be all about managing the gap if you're the race leader, and then if you're not the race leader, if you are Kevin King or Mike Kelly or any of these guys behind them, getting that run and utilizing the draft to be able to try to make the move and get either to the inside or the outside of the race leader to try to make that move and go for it. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this plays out. As I'm a little confused with how this is all playing out, but Kevin Brown's going to move up to the front row as the pace car lights go off. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens here, but it looks like maybe Kevin Brown's going to start on the front row.
Did they make a choose of some sort, maybe, or something? I that's the only thing that I can think of to change it up here. And if that's the case, Brian, we didn't get the memo for that one. But Kevin Brown on the outside. We've seen Kevin Brown start on the front row of a couple of these restarts. Leader goes, and the second-place driver is able to take that advantage and get to second. But with this aero package the way it is, I don't know if it's much of an advantage to restart in second and be able to keep that position at least for long.
Looking through the rules, it does appear there was a choose rule for the final stage. These guys are able to do that right here. So that's what's going to happen. Kevin Brown's able to come to the front. Pace car's about to duck away. 10 laps of action. Tim Terry, bring us to the green.
Final stage for the Monday Night Transervice Cup Series All-Star Race, and it's going to be Tommy Ryan leaving early, the 93 of Kevin Brown to the outside. Green flag flies. The 38 of Chad Coleman going to fall, and it looks like behind the 20 or the 88 of Kevin King and the 2 of Mike Kelly. Now the question is, does anybody have anything for Tommy Ryan, and can Kevin King get back up here and reassert his dominance? They're 3 wide in the middle of the pack already.
3 wide in the middle of the pack, but the battle's on for the race lead. Kevin dives to the inside. He almost turns Tommy Ryan down in the middle of the corner. Tommy has to slide up the racetrack and give the bottom to Kevin Brown. Now that allows Kevin King to get to the outside. He's going to try to use the draft to go around Kevin Brown. He looks to the outside. Is he going to make a move on the 99? It looks like he's going to try as they go down into turn 1, side by side for the lead and side by side for second on back as well.
Mike Kelly tried to go to the outside, and Tommy Ryan is sideways. 4-wheel drift at a 2, loses momentum. Hello, Kevin King to the inside, and Kevin King will go to the lead. Here comes Kevin Brown to the inside. It took 1 4-wheel drift to take Tommy Ryan out of the lead and potentially out of the win in this All-Star race. Kevin King comes by this time with 7 laps remaining, and will have the advantage now. Does Kevin Brown have anything for the 88?
Going to be very challenging with the damage we've seen on that 93 car and just how strong Kevin King is, but he runs the top trying to carry some momentum off the corner. Doesn't look like he's going to have enough to get to him, but he does close the gap quite considerably down the back straightaway. Now follows him to the bottom of the racetrack. It's going to be all about utilizing that draft for as much of this run as he can. The battle is on for third behind him. Tommy Ryan trying to hold off Mike Kelly, doing a good job right here, but right now that's not going to help them win this race. If I was these 2 drivers, I would be trying to get single file, use the draft to try to get back to those guys up front, but unfortunately that's not what they're going to do. They stay side by side, and it looks like Tommy Ryan's going to fight back on the outside off turn 2.
And you can see from the blimp the top 2 are pulling away just a little bit over Tommy Ryan. Ryan takes third. Chad Coleman in that tap-out tuning. Number 38 goes to the outside, but he's the only one on the outside. Richard Beasley is in position number 6 and trying to get that thing a little closer to the front. And again, Tommy Ryan having a hard time keeping the power underneath him coming off the corner, and now he is in a fight for position number 3. It's 3 wide for position number 3 as the Kevins pull away. The battle for third, Chad Coleman trying to take it.
Man, all 3 of these guys are all over the place. Mike Kelly just drifted off of turn 2, just barely didn't get into the right rear corner of Chad Coleman. He's able to get clear of Coleman. Can he clear Tommy Ryan in the middle of the corner? He looks like he's clear. If he can slide up and hold it, he does. That's going to move Kelly up to the 3rd position. With 4 laps remaining, though, these guys have given up a ton of time. They're almost a full second off of the pair of Kevins at the front. That's not going to help them to try to be a factor to win this all-star race. Now the question becomes, does Kevin Brown have anything for that 88 car of Kevin King? He is losing time to the 88 car, and I'm not sure he has enough time to make it back up as they get down here. 3 laps to go and they get back to the stripe.
Yeah, that might be all Kevin King or Kevin Brown has for Kevin King, but we'll see if he can gain any time in the last few laps. Richard Beasley is going to go to position number 5, I believe, through all of this as Chad Coleman goes back one more position. There is your leader. There is the battle for position number 5. Richard Beasley tries to take it away, and Glenn Campbell, after the up-and-down night that he's had, is in a fight for a top 5 spot.
And I'll tell you what, these guys can't stop fighting, because if for some reason we got a caution before they get to the white flag, the track position's going to matter, and this could really play a factor if we do get a caution. So as this battle rages on, you have to pay attention to that, but we're coming back to just 2 laps remaining. Kevin King has a 2.5 tenths of a second lead. Now it's 4 tenths of a second over Kevin Brown. Opening that gap, unless he makes a mistake, it's going to be Kevin King's race to lose.
Kevin King controlling this one up in front of Kevin Brown in second. Comfortably in second. Mike Kelly is chasing him down. I don't think he is going to get there. Tommy Ryan in 4th and Richard Beasley in 5th. It may be all over here. Kevin Brown has stepped up to that outside line trying to make that run, but not making a whole lot of time. White flag, Brian.
White flag, 1 lap to go. If he's going to do something, he's got to do it down here in 1 and 2. Try to get the momentum. Try to get a big run off the corner. See if he can't get to him and maybe make a slide job down in turn 3, but it doesn't look like he's going to have the momentum. Kevin King's just got to hit 2 corners here very cleanly, and he's going to be an all-star winner after winning at Sonoma last week.
Kevin Brown going to try that outside line one more time, but that 88 car of Kevin King has been driving so smooth as he has all season long. Up at a 4, he can see the checker flag now. Kevin King back-to-back in the Transervice Cup Series. He wins the All-Star race. Kevin Brown, Mike Kelly. 4th is Tommy Ryan and a hard-charging Richard Beasley to position number 5. What a show. Little rough in the middle stages of it, Brian, but Kevin King continues his presence in this Transervice Cup Series, picks up a win last week for the points situation at Sonoma, and now goes to victory lane in the All-Star race, and will celebrate here on the front straightaway as a winner one more time.
Wins bring so much confidence and so much momentum to a team and to a driver. And for Kevin King, we've watched him in this series, and we just knew, like I said earlier, he was going to win races and he was going to be a factor. And now he's won back-to-back in this series. Winning Sonoma last week was big. Winning this All-Star race is even bigger, because we just now see how good he can be on the speedways as well as on those road courses. This could be a statement. If he can get up and make a run into the playoffs, he could be a championship favorite when we get down to the end of this thing at Atlanta.
Yeah, Kevin King lighting it up, a winner one more time. Great run for Kevin Brown, though, coming home in a second. Mike Kelly in 3rd. And looking down through the results, E.J. O'Rourke, what might have been, was up in front of that Super 6, per se, in that second stage, and just couldn't get away from traffic. Richard Beasley found something at the end of that one, and maybe if that race was 15 laps as opposed to 10, he might have been on the podium when this one was all done. Glenn Campbell was up there near the end, but great run by these drivers in this Transervice Cup Series All-Star race. We'll wait to see, maybe grab a couple of words with our top 3 finishers. But Brian, this has been fun tonight.
Yeah, I got to thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of this. This was a lot of fun. Obviously, being down in the race car is a lot of fun, but this was an opportunity for me to get to do something I've wanted to do for a while. I've always wanted to call a race with you, so I got to say thank you for letting me do that tonight. I got to thank Kevin for jumping into my car and running my car and giving up his seat in the broadcast booth next to you tonight. So it's been a lot of fun from my end, and oh man, this is awesome. Seeing these guys from this perspective instead of racing with them, you really just see how competitive this series really is. When you're on track with them, it is. But when you see just how many of these guys, there were so many comers and goers, you really didn't know who was going to win this race throughout the majority of the night. That's what makes it so much fun because, just seeing the parity that we have. And I think I looked at it earlier. We have like 12 or 13 different winners already this season. So there's still a lot of guys out there that can win races. It's going to be a blast in the second half.
But you're not done yet. We're going to put you to work. Why don't you catch up with our third place finisher, Mike Kelly, for a couple words?
Mike Kelly, Brian Macklin up in the booth. How you doing tonight? Third place finish. A great run for that number 2 car.
Holy cow, not bad for a fan vote dummy there, huh?
Yeah, man, take us through your night. Obviously getting in by the fan vote. That gave you that last gasp to have a chance to run this race. And you had a great run in the first stage. Obviously you finished up there in the top. It looks like you finished 9th in the first stage. Were able to get a good run in the second stage to start up there towards the front. Just didn't quite have what you needed to pass that 88 car at the end. What did you need to go up there and challenge for the race win?
Well, not getting ran over, slowing down for that first yellow may have helped. But anyway, no, that was an exciting night. I don't know how much you guys talked about the Open, but I got second in the first segment of the Open, narrowly missing getting in. Then I got wrecked by Jose and somebody else crashing while I was battling for the lead of the second segment. And then Jose winning that second segment gave me the winner of the fan vote. So that's how I got in. And then didn't really know what kind of strategy to do because hadn't had a lot of time to think about it. And I just thought I was going to make that first segment go as far as I could, pit right before that one was going to go yellow. And then everything worked out good going to that second segment. Got a yellow early, which allowed me to go in, put my second set of tires on, and I was able to blaze through the field and be strong at the end there to get a good position for that last run.
And obviously this was a small field, so you didn't race against the entire Transervice Cup Series roster. But how much does a third-place finish in a race like this really kind of build momentum and confidence for you going into the second half of the season? Obviously, you've had a decent start to the season. You're currently battling for a playoff spot. What if you can do, or if you can take anything from this race, what can you that you can apply to the second half of the season?
The best thing I got out of this one was finally, it's just so hard to run up front in this series, and you practically got to have a miracle just to be able to run up in the top 10 unless you're one of the super fast guys, which there are many. And I've been running great. I had a terrible start to the season. I don't know if when the drop weeks start to kick in, if it's going to help me up that much. It may or may not, but I've been running good lately, and being able to run up front here with Kevin King and Tommy and Kevin and Chad and just see that I can run with them, even though I think I was damaged. I think I was a little bit off, so got a lot of confidence going on, especially the mile and a halfers from here on out.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, Mike, sponsors, shout-outs. Who makes it happen for you on that number 2 car?
I got to thank everybody that helps out on this Verizon Ford. Got to give a special shout-out to all my friends and family and everybody that went out and voted for me, because I definitely wouldn't even been in this race without them. So great job by my wife and my brother and my friends on Facebook for voting for me and give me the opportunity to be in the race. And then Vidane TV, looking forward to going and watching this one on the replay for sure. And everybody at SIM500, it was a lot of fun and great being on the podium.
All right, congrats on your third-place finish here tonight. We look forward to seeing you next week when we head to Nashville, Mike. Good luck. All right, that was Mike Kelly, third-place finisher here tonight in the All-Star race. Tim, I believe you have Kevin Brown in second place.
Yeah, let's catch up with Kevin Brown. Haven't spoken with you in a while on one of these post-race interviews, Kevin, but second place, what else did you need to get up to Kevin King at the end?
I wasn't sure. I searched everywhere on the track behind Kevin, trying to figure out how to get up to him. I thought the clean air would be great if I get the high side, but it wasn't rolling as well, and then I tried behind him, and I was just pushing way too much. I think we had a little bit too much damage from the earlier incident that was definitely holding us back a bit, but I don't know. He's pretty fast tonight.
This package looks pretty wild to watch, at least from up here. How was it from the driver's seat to really go from start to finish and try to work this draft and work this air?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. Let me tell you, especially the side draft coming off the corners and everything. Oh, it was so much fun. Honestly, it's been a while since I had this much fun in a car, but yeah, I wish we had a little bit more.
It's a second place finish in the All-Star race. There's no points on the line, but how much momentum does this give you to move forward into this summer stretch?
Hopefully a lot. We've been having a bad couple weeks. I know Charlotte week we had the trouble, and I felt like I could have won Charlotte, but stuff happens, and hopefully in the coming weeks we'll do better.
I know you don't do it alone. Who's on the side of this race car? Who helps you get to where you are here tonight?
Yeah, of course. Pride, Chris Caboo for always painting paint schemes. Love him to death. Guys down on the team, Chad Coleman, Daniel, Richard Beasley, all of them. And yeah, thanks for you guys for putting on the show.
Now, Richard Beasley finished in 5th tonight. Has he offered to share that belt with you? Because I know you guys were going for that belt over the winter. Has he offered to at least share the belt with you?
Not at all. I think he completely stole it under my nose. I should have won that thing, and he knows it. He doesn't deserve it at all. And whenever I see him in person, I'm going to steal it.
Well, he still hasn't claimed the rent a race car ride, so maybe you can get the race car out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's put me in the race car, yeah.
That sounds good. Congratulations on the night. That's Kevin Brown coming home in second. We'll hand it over to Brian Macklin with our winner here tonight from the All-Star race, Kevin King.
And down here in victory lane now with Kevin King. Kevin, you were a winner a week ago in Sonoma. That got you into this race. You didn't have to worry about racing in by the virtue of the Open earlier on. What did you have to do in this race in order to hold on and beat these guys tonight? Kevin King, Brian Macklin, you got us here?
You got me? There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, I thought just having clean air would be pretty huge. So that was pretty much correct. I didn't expect that many wrecks, but it was pretty interesting to see kind of how the air moved around. I know a few of us tested at Pocono and knew what it was going to do, but the throttle time on this thing was pretty drastic. So with the high line after about 15 laps was just super fast. And so I just, luckily that some guys wrecked. Unfortunately, like I said, I was looking at the replay. I'm pretty sure I got into Josh. I didn't expect him to kind of stay low when I went low, and I think I bumper hooked him. So I need to tell him that's my bad. I didn't expect that. It definitely wasn't my intention.
And when you're racing in a race like this, it's just so hard not to take those shots when you have a chance at it. And obviously needing to try to get the best finish you could in both stages to set yourself up for a front row start in the final stage. Was that going through your mind at all when you were trying to battle with Josh right there, just trying to get up there and get that lead as quickly as possible?
I mean, I knew that, Adam was still in the – actually, I wasn't in the race at this point. I knew that for average starting spot to be in the lead just to do the best I could in terms of getting that average. So I wasn't really pushing too hard. I knew we were pulling away from the guys behind us, so I was just kind of just going to ride. But then he made that block, and I wasn't really expecting it. So I went down a little bit, and I think he kind of just stayed there. So I wasn't pushing too hard to try to get up there. I felt like, it was pretty early in the run to even do anything. We had probably about 25 laps left, so definitely wasn't trying to push the envelope, but I definitely knew being in the front was definitely a benefit after about 15, 20 laps. So it was through my mind. It just wasn't go time at that point.
And obviously, you started the season kind of late with us here in the Transervice Cup Series. I've been on track with you. You've been really fast. It seems like every single week. You finally broke through and got that win last week at Sonoma, and then obviously again here tonight. How much momentum do you feel like you have going into this summer stretch? Because we're getting ready to hit a handful of racetracks that are completely different from anything we've ran this season with Pocono and Road America and Phoenix and a bunch of these tracks that are really going to throw a curveball at the entire series. How confident do you feel going into this summer stretch?
Phoenix is my favorite racetrack, so I'm pretty confident with that track. Pocono has been a really good track for me too. I tend to drive it a lot like Phoenix somehow, some way. So good. Plus with the aero model, it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. Road America, I'm actually really looking forward to something quite a bit different, and I'm hoping to get back into road racing a little bit more. So that's going to be really fun for me to go in there and figure out what I'm doing. So, I know there's really good drivers, but I'm always confident in kind of my abilities. So I expect, that I'm running well and not making mistakes. But as always, there's things bound to happen. So just looking to get top fives, gain some points on the races that I've missed, and not to cause any issues for the guys around me. That's basically my main goal.
Well, obviously, you don't do this thing alone. Sponsor shout-outs. Who makes it happen for you on that 88 car, Kevin?
Team Adam unfortunately got wrecked. I felt bad. I need to go watch that. J Concepts, Team Associated, Outrun Esports, BC Workshop, Sick at One. A lot of the guys, a lot of those companies are real life sponsors for the RC side of things. So appreciate what you guys are doing. I know this is not easy on the admin side of things and definitely the broadcast side of things. So I definitely appreciate what you guys are doing. It's not always easy, like I said, to get these things rolling. But I'm having fun. I tell everyone, all the leagues that I run, which is basically a whole handful of 2, I have fun the most here, mainly because it's guys I've raced with are known for a very long time, but there's guys that are really respectful, really quick, and I just look forward to racing every Monday. And, I'm hoping to get more people. I've been telling people, hey, there's this league that I wasn't really aware of. It's really cool. So I'm hoping to get some more of those guys on board so we have more talent coming soon. And hopefully we can make this thing a little bit bigger with, a little bit faster drivers or more exposure drivers like Coke guys and stuff. So I think it'll be fun, but good job, everyone. And thank you guys for putting this on.
Hey, Kevin. Yeah,
yes, Tim.
You want to talk about talent? You forgot about somebody that finished 5th tonight. How about Richard Beasley?
Yeah, I don't know how he keeps getting these Mickey Mouse finishes, but he always surprises me. I knew he was part of the first yellow, which wasn't a surprise. And then to see him finish 5th, it's just, I'm going to chalk it up to an attrition race for him, not because he actually drove up there, but yeah, he's going to give me hell over him finishing 5th with the broken car, but I'll just tell him that he was part of the first yellow. But yeah, he keeps doing these things. I don't get it. I really don't get it. That's probably how he got that super speedway built, just beating up on the guys that are broken and somehow passes them all.
Well, at least he wasn't 4 laps down tonight, right?
Exactly, yeah. And I forgot, thanks Tim Terry, I forgot him on the car, obviously. He's got a big logo on my car. I forgot about that. But yeah, 4 laps down. I mean, he's so wrecked, so he has that streak going, but he's on the lead lap this time. So he's got another streak going for him.
Congratulations. That's Kevin King and Brian. What a show. This was fun tonight working with you. And I know you're going to be busy next week because you're going to be back in the race car and fighting for that Transervice Cup Series championship. But a nice change of pace for you tonight.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done this in the broadcast booth. And like I said a little while ago, I got to thank you and Paul for allowing me to jump in here tonight. This was a blast. I'm really looking forward to next week, though, because we're going to the brand new Nashville Super Speedway, which is going to be an unknown for most of us unless you run some of the official races. You don't really know what to expect there. You don't know how the car is going to drive. You don't know how you're going to manage the tires. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very interesting. And I can't wait to get back on track and really just kind of see how it all plays out. And hopefully we can put on a really good show for you and Kevin and Paul up here in the booth, because if it's anything like tonight, it should be a blast to watch.
This definitely was a blast this evening. Great run, and congratulations once again to Kevin King on the victory. But Paul, we move on from here, and I know that the summer stretch for Verdane is slowing down a little bit, but we got a couple of events coming up.
That we do. No more doubleheaders here for Wednesday night. Doing a little Tim's Corner Motorsports, Tim's Corner Live, episode number 21, episode number 20.
Episode number 20. We're going to be joined by, who do we got? We got Kent Vincent coming up this week, former IWK 250 champion. We got Zine Dutcher, and we also have Mark Kingston as he gets ready for the Day of Eights coming up on Tim's Corner TV on Saturday.
And that'll be a lot of fun. And Fatheads just wrapped up their championship last Wednesday night. Young Trevor Apsher and the number 19 Joe Gibbs racing car came home with the race win, giving him the championship, and he had definitely earned it throughout the season. He and that team done a fantastic job. We actually had Randy the Plumber on board calling that race as well, so that was a lot of fun. Check out some of his stuff over on all the social media outlets. And speaking of Nashville Super Speedway, I did hook up with Scott Patton, one of the league admins for Multi-League Racing League and the Multi-League Cup Series here on Thursday nights on Verdane TV, and did confirm that this Thursday they are racing Nashville Super Speedway. So that's going to be the very first race here on Verdane TV for that track, and might be a good opportunity for some of these SIM500 guys to check it out and see what some of the strategies are there. And well, who knows? Maybe being a super speedway, we might actually see Richard Beasley up in the top 5 in a race full of cars. But Friday night, always unavailable here at Verdane TV during the racing season. Myself, I'll be at Stafford Motor Speedway working with the Rent a Race Car guys. And got to give a shout out to Jared Bolliard, the Verdane Racing champion from 2 seasons ago, the last time we had the Super Speedway Series before we teamed up with SIM500. Hey, wasn't able to cash in his free rental from Rent a Race Car last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. cashed it in this year, cashed it in this Friday, and absolutely put that number 22 car through his paces. I got a phone call last night from Gary Spinato Jr., the owner of Run a Race Car, says his phone has been off the hook, ringing off the hook since Friday night, wanting to know who was in that car and wanting to book rides because he really showed what that car was able to do with no experience. He's worked on cars out, worked on race teams out in Ohio, never been behind the wheel of the race car, a little bit shaky in the first practice, taking a little tour of the racetrack, and after that, the rest is history. Great second practice, great feature run. You can check it out on flowracing.com, the streaming service specifically for, well, not specifically for Stafford, but the streaming service that works with Stafford Motor Speedway. I think it's like $15 for the replay. Definitely worth the watch. A fantastic street stock race and a great SRX racing debut for them on Saturday night. Check out that replay if you can on YouTube or the CBS app or wherever they may have it, because that was a phenomenal race and very cool to see Doug Kobe, the hometown hero, come home and whoop up on some Cup champions, some Indy champions, and even this year's Indy 500 winner at Stafford Speedway. Very cool. The energy of my home track having a packed crowd of 10,000 people was absolutely fantastic, and I got to catch up with one of my childhood heroes, Kevin England, who called a lot of the races back when I was in high school doing the sim racing bit, one of the godfathers of sim racing broadcasting along Tim Terry. And Kevin, I think he's kind of snuck up in here in the production trailer, pulling that helmet off, a little bit sweaty, a little bit tired. Kevin, how about it, man? What do you think?
Man, I had a blast tonight. I don't know how much fun it shows, but boy, these guys are fast.
Pretty solid run. Came home in one piece. A little bit of sheet metal damage, but we're never worried about that too much. Came home on a lap. Came home on a lead lap. Easy enough for me to say. And I believe the final running was 8th for that car, if I'm not mistaken.
I just wanted to beat Faulkingham, and darn if he just kept side drafting, pulling me back. I was ready to run him up in the fence, but I figured he would appreciate that. So I kept it clean tonight, and I was a little conservative. Maybe I should have run a little harder, but Brian, I didn't wreck the thing.
You did a good job here tonight, and I'm kind of glad you didn't run Faulkingham into the fence, because he might have thought that was me, and then I would have been facing some payback come next week. So good call on that one. But no, you did a great job tonight. It was awesome. It was weird watching you up there, or from the broadcast booth, watching you in the car, but it was a lot of fun.
And back.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I had a blast. I wish that I could figure out this restarts. I lost 4, 10, 12 car lengths every time we got a restart, and there's just no catching up with them. But if I could have stayed with them, I think I was as fast as those guys through the long runs.
And back to normal next week. Kevin England back up here in the booth for the Nashville Super Speedway, and Brian Macklin back behind the wheel of that number 30 Transervice Camry, and back here live at Vidane Racing. There's your schedule for the week. You can check it out, Vidane.net, Facebook.com/Vidane TV. But that's going to wrap it up here for tonight. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., Kevin England up here after the race, Tim Terry, Brian Macklin calling the race, everybody here for SIM500 and the Transervice Cup Series. Thank you so much for tuning in. Give us a like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll catch you on the flip side when we do. We're going to be doing it live.